Hello and welcome to the latest video and podcast from Fantasy Football Scouts. We are looking ahead to Fantasy Premier League Game Week 25. It's a double game week. It's also a blank game week and a normal game week for some. This time we're focusing on the underachievers on the goals imminent table. We'll do is explain a bit more about that table and how underlying stats can help Fantasy Premier League managers. We'll look at the sister table, assists imminent, and we'll also reveal our Game Week 25 transfer captaincy plans, and there will be a live Q&A at the end, so get thinking about your questions, and as we finish off talking about our teams, I'll ask those in the live chat to come up with their questions and we'll do our best to answer them. As I said, it's a double and blank game week. Before we have a look at those teams, my name is Joe and I'm joined as ever by Fantasy Football Scouts Deputy Editor Tom. Welcome, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Joe. Okay game week. I think I was kind of saved by my Man United triple up on Sunday with Fernandes, Shaw and Rashford. Until that point, it wasn't great.
Yeah.
Finished on 54, I think, so reasonable week. And like you said, then now we've got this kind of unique game week, haven't we, where we've got doubles and blanks. So loads to discuss here.
Definitely, yeah. So yeah, you were lucky getting. I just had Rashford and Shaw, and got a rank boost from Shaw, but Rashford every point he got because he was 110% owned because so many people captained him. I actually didn't want him to do that well, but if you got Fernandes as well, you did well. As said, it's a unique game week. Arsenal, Liverpool, Wolverhampton, and Everton. They all play twice. Meanwhile, Newcastle, Manchester United, Brentford, and Brighton all blank, and the rest is business as usual. It's the League Cup final is the reason those teams are blanking, and there's lots more double game weeks to come. So it's Arsenal, Everton, Liverpool, Wolves are playing on the Wednesday. There's a Sunday game, just one game on a Sunday because of that League Cup final, Spurs against Chelsea. All the rest of the games are on Saturday. Shall we, just before we go on, I'll just welcome those who've joined us in the live chat. Thanks so much, the early birds there joining us. We've got King, Rodrev, Saul, Ralph, Colm, Alex, and more. Thanks so much for joining us. Hopefully you've got some questions for us at the end. Let's have a look, see how we did last week in the goals imminent table. See how our predictions fared. Mitrovic blanked. Nunes, goal. McAllister blanked. And Brighton gave it a blooming good go as well. And McAllister still in that attacking midfield role. Havertz blanked. Solanke, no goal, but he did get an assist. Utara, blank. Gakpo, goal. Gibbs White, no goal, but he did get an assist. And Wilson at Newcastle blanked. So it's pretty good there. So looking at that list there, Tom, anything sort of springs out, especially because you've been sort of covering the matches as well for Fantasy Football Scout?
Yeah, well, we finally got our Darwin goal, didn't we? We've been talking about it for a while. Finally delivered. First Premier League goal since November, I think.
Yeah.
Had a couple of shots in the box, but then he came off with this shoulder injury, which is a bit of a concern with the double coming up. But the good news is we get to see Liverpool in action tonight. They're playing Real Madrid. I think he's been spotted in training as well. So we'll know a bit more after that. And obviously there's another press conference to come from Klopp later in the week prior to the game week beginning. There's a bit more competition now with Jota and Firmino back, but if he is fit, then he looks a decent bet for the game week coming up, I think. So, yeah, great to see him finally deliver, which the stats had always promised, but we were left wondering if it would actually ever happen, but it has. And
that's the point of this table, isn't it? It's like if they appear on this table and they keep appearing on this table week after week, they're either going to score and hop off the table, or they're just going to just fade away, really. And so, yeah, it was great. He's finally delivered. So that's good. Gakpo as well, finally.
Yeah.
But I think with Gakpo, I haven't seen him play, and obviously when you watch the highlights and things, he always looks busy. He always looks like he cares as well. So it did seem, I think, a matter of time. Because he's obviously, we've seen in the World Cup that he's got the talent as well. So if he's got the enthusiasm as well, I think he's a tempter, isn't he, for this double game week?
Yeah, he's playing through the middle. He's playing this kind of Firmino role where he's dropping quite deep. But he's getting better. He's improving. He had quite a shaky, well, not a shaky start. He just struggled a little bit at the beginning, but now he's getting more used to it. I think this system suits him. He had a couple of big chances in just under an hour
Yeah.
against Newcastle. Minutes expectations for the double, he probably starts one, he might be benched in another, but maybe 100 minutes over the two. So yeah, I think a reasonable an option for the double. So
Pretty good. So yeah, a good week for the goals imminent, goals and assists. Sort of make do. Assists imminent table. We have more success there. Trippier blank, and I guess with our teams that we've got, we can come to that in a sec. What we're going to do with Trippier, but Grealish and another assist. Martinelli, no assist, but he did get a goal, which was great for me as an owner. I went out. I went out while that match was on. I was listening to it. Then I went out, walked the dog, came back, just resigned to my 1 point from an inevitable subbing. And it turns out he scored in the last minute. so I'm more than happy with that. Nonto, blank there. Gross, another blank. Ward-Prowse, no assist, but he did score. Elise is classic assist, goals imminent fodder here. No one wants players like that. They're totally unfashionable, but they crop up with points every now and again. Great. Neto, he unfortunately blanked. Odegaard did get an assist as the table promised, and Partey didn't play. So Arsenal obviously missing him. Looking at this list here, anything sort of spring out, especially because of your coverage for the matches?
well, Martinelli's prospects look a bit better, don't they, Joe? We predicted that he would be benched last week for Trossard, and he was, but he came on and he made a real impact. And I think suddenly now, if you've kept the faith for this long, I don't think anybody's going to be selling him ahead of this double game week. And I think his prospects look a lot better now. So in his case, very good. Olise, like you say, got that assist. Very good player. Fixtures are difficult though for Palace, so I think we'll have to wait a little bit before we consider them. And who else have we got on there? Grealish. I mean, I've been writing him off a bit recently, but he keeps popping up with these returns, and he seems to be really growing into that role, that kind of left side role with Haaland through the middle, and then Mahrez or Foden down the right. So might need to relook at him again. Let's see what happens in midweek. Again, they've got a Champions League match against Leipzig, but that might give a few clues as to who's going to play, because it's a good fixture this weekend against Bournemouth.
Yes, indeed.
Gonzo quieter, but Coleman had a very good game. Not so good for the Patterson owners like me, but we'll come on to that later.
I know. There were some more quotes, weren't there, this week from Sean Dyche about Coleman basically saying that he's superhuman. And I mean, even if Patterson was the fittest man on the planet, there's no way he's going to get past Coleman at the moment, because we know what Sean Dyche is like. He sticks to a team that he likes. Rightio. What we'll do is we'll move on to the goals imminent table. This is the one ahead of double game week 25. So some of those players will be blanking, but I've kept them on there anyway, just so you can see, because players like, say, for example, Brighton players, they've got a double game week coming up in 27. The goals imminent table, for those that don't know, it's on the Fantasy Football Scout members area. Do have a look at that. Do have a look at the membership and what you get there. Lots of stats. But it's a table I've made, and it's basically where it's the last 4 matches they played, not last 4 game weeks, last 4 matches they have played. And I've set they have to have got at least 10 shots away, and they can have scored a goal, but no more than 1 goal. So lots of other stats in there, some expected stats in there. And the aim is to look at that and think, well, perhaps why are they not scoring? And perhaps look at those with good, strong underlying stats that can score at some point. With the assist imminent table, we'll look at it in a sec. I think I've set that 7 chances created, similar type format, last 4 matches. So let's have a look at this goals imminent table ahead of double and blank and normal game week 25. What I'll do is I'll just sort of run down the list, we'll name them, and then I'll sort of stop you, Tom, and then you can chip in and tell me more about them. Okay. McAllister is now top. 5.4, double game week coming up soon. Blank this week, so no one's going to get him game week 25. He could be the Brighton midfielder to get, because Matoma's had a couple of blanks. McAllister, 4 big chances, missed them all, but nevertheless, 8 shots on target, 9 shots in the box. So almost all his close range efforts are on target, and his expected goals should have scored well over 2 goals. I'm tempted to get him in as the Brighton guy. when they doubled.
Yeah, it feels like a big decision, doesn't it? Who we're going to go with in game week 26, of course, not this week.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of the three. It's Matoma, it's Marsh, and McAllister. I think I can remember we had this chat a few weeks ago, Joe, and you were talking up Solly Marsh at the time, who's actually, and I think he was a bit unlucky in the two immediate games after that, after you'd said that, because he had the better chances, but it's coming through now. He's got more more chance of an assist than somebody like Matoma. I think his creative numbers are better. He's on some set plays, but McAllister as well has now emerged on penalties. If he plays in this number 10 role, I think he had 4 shots at the weekend again and a big chance as well. So he's in the mix as well. So suddenly now it's not just Matoma, it's Marsh and McAllister. And I think I'm leaning towards Marsh at the moment, but McAllister is interesting too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to overload too much. I mean, as much as I'd like to, because Brighton are my team, but it's going to be one of these three. And I don't think it's in stone that it's going to be Matoma, because what you're after is just a quick fix of points. McAllister's on penalties. He is the attacking midfielder guy at the moment, and he's a World Cup winner. And March is always much more advanced than Matoma, but Matoma's the one that catches the eye. So it is tricky, but we've got time to look at that. Mitrovic is next. Didn't play, but so he's still on this table. 2 big chances, missed them both. Just 2 shots on target from his 12 close range efforts. He had 13 shots in total. Should have scored a couple of goals. He scored none in those last 4 matches. Well, in theory, he's going to play this weekend. And so in a blank game week, people might not want to move a player that's going to play. But, I mean, is his time sort of ended for FPL managers?
Well, I'm not totally sure he is going to play this weekend. Marco Silva came out and said it was a minor injury, but he didn't know. He actually said in the interview, he said he didn't know if he was going to be ready for Wolves, because it's obviously a Friday kickoff, that one. So, we don't know. We need an update. I don't think we're going to know going into this game week, but I think because of the circumstances where Fulham do have a game and there's a chance he might play, I think people have got too many other fires to put out this week with United and Newcastle blanking and Brentford and Brighton as well. So he's a keep for me, but he's a player I'd quite happily sell, because he's flattered to deceive for quite a while now, hasn't he, really? So.
If anyone has got a space for an Arsenal player and they're looking to make a move and take advantage of this double game week, Nketiah could be a good player to get in. And he is a good segue here, the next player on this list. 4 big chances, missed them all. And I had to double check these stats. In fact, I had to double check with you as well. I had to sort of triple check them. So he has had 12 shots, 11 of those of close range efforts. None on target. I mean, that takes some doing, doesn't it? To not get any of 11 shots inside the box on target at all. What do you think? Nketiah, is he going to be goals imminent, or will he be frustrating for owners in double gaming? What do you think?
I think he will come good personally, but he is in a bit of a slump. He snatched at a couple of chances against City. Really, he should have got an assist at the weekend when he put it on a plate for Odegaard, who missed against my team. But I don't have any worries with Nketiah. I don't think he's not been clinical recently, but I think that he specialises in those kind of close range efforts, those 6 yard in the 6 yard box kind of efforts. So once Arsenal produce those chances for him, there's a good chance he is going to put them away. But he's snatching at his chances a little bit. But I think if you own him, he's a no-brainer to keep for this week. And I would back him to score in this game week 25, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have him. I'm stocked up on Arsenal players, and I don't know if I would.
So you've got Odegaard, or have you got Saka and Martinelli?
I've got Saka, Martinelli, and White. Okay. So not the ideal ones, but you never know. I thought Ben White looked great in the last game. I know they conceded twice, but I thought Ben White was great. And but I don't know if but I think Jesus is quite some weeks away. If you've got triple Arsenal ready, maybe not. But if you do have a space and you desperately want to get rid of Martinelli or Ben White, then maybe Nketiah could be a good move. Shares next at Newcastle, 5.2 million. 2 big chances, missed them both. One shot on target. I mean, he's a defender, so this is what you expect. But 9 shots inside the box, not good. So you don't expect too many on target for a defender. But 9 shots inside the box, 11 shots in his last 4 matches. He's pretty good. I don't think we should dwell on him really, because I don't think anyone's going to really get him in Game Week 25 because he's not playing. So we'll maybe come back to him, but he's been on this table for 1 week. Mitrovic been on the table for 3 weeks. McAllister 2 weeks. Ketia, a new entry. Solanke's next at Bournemouth. We're all going to ignore Bournemouth, aren't we? But their players are occasionally getting the points and scoring. They could be good, useful enablers, you think. Maybe not this week, but going forwards, Bournemouth player. I mean, I don't rule out ever getting a Bournemouth player, do you?
No, I don't mind Solanke. I owned him earlier in the season. Yeah, like you say, not fashionable name, but could be useful. But we'll need the fixtures to fall really fall well for them. They'll need to have a double or something to go there. But if they do, I think Solanke and Ouattara as well, who's a bit lower down, they're the two to be looking at. Although Ouattara was brought off early, I think, at the weekend. He was quite quiet, obviously settling into the team. So Solanke would be the one to look at, I think, there.
As you point out, Ouattara's on this list as well. Just a couple of shots on target, 9 shots inside the box. And in the Dorset sandwich of these two players is Tony from Brentford, who is not playing, so people aren't going to get him in, but he's useful for their double game week that's coming up in a couple of weeks. So good to see Tony on here, because he's one of those players that I cannot believe he's going to remain on this table for long. He's been first week on this table. He's had 2 big chances. He only missed one of them. He's had a goal in the last 4 matches, 4 shots on target, 9 inside the box. So he's quite clinical, 13 shots. I'm going to have to try and find a way to get him in, because he's got 2, from my memory, Double Gameweek 2 quite good away games that he could score well in. Tony, he looks like probably a must-have in this Double Game Week.
Potentially. I mean, they've got the blank, then they play Fulham at home. Fulham have been much improved since the restart defensively, but I think that's probably the time to get him in with that home fixture, because Brentford are very good at home generally. And then they've got, like you said, Joe, they've got Everton and Southampton away in the double, but then they might blank. I think they probably will blank in Game Week 28, and they might have a double in Game Week 29. So we'll talk about chips later, but it's going to be quite a tricky time to navigate these Brighton and these Brentford assets, because we're going to want them. But that's why I'm kind of shying away from using a free hit this week, because might need it later on. So
I think we're going to be all of us are going to be faced with a choice, if we don't have too many of their assets, of either really go to town on it and somehow use chips around it, or be resigned to going without them in the blanks, or just sort of dipping your toe into Brighton and Brentford. And that's the way I'm leaning at the moment. One Brighton midfielder and Tony, and that's it. And then I should be okay for the blanks as well. And I've got, hopefully, we're certainly in Tony, the best Brentford asset. And just take a punt
the only one, really.
And which Brighton midfielder is just going to haul that week, because one of them will.
Bailey.
Just
with Tony, I mean, he's the only Brentford attacking player worth considering anyway, isn't he? Really? So and then on to Bailey, as you were
Bailey, 4.4 million, useful enabler. Aston Villa and Chelsea, as we pointed out, are useful players because they're not blanking, and they're just going to be quite handy sort of glue players in our team. We can just stick them in when we need them. But Bailey 4.4. Now, am I right? I can't remember the lineup. Villa, did he actually start?
No, he didn't, and I've had quite a few questions about it after, because I think a lot of people were looking at Bailey as that enabler, possibly to kind of facilitate a 4-3-3 with Andreas or something as well. And I'd been quite bullish on him being nailed. He'd started quite a few in a row with Watkins, but I did say last week that Coutinho had made a good cameo against Man City, and I thought he was deserving of a start. Now, I thought Coutinho would probably come in for Buendia, but he didn't. He came in for Bailey. Coutinho played on the left wing, and Buendia moved into this central role behind Watkins. And I think it's Coutinho came in, he scored. And I don't know, I can't say for definite if Bailey's going to get back in. I'd rather suspect he'll have to sit out the next one and maybe wait for his opportunity now, which means that he's a very difficult buy now, because if you're getting him in, you want him nailed for the blanks coming up. And I can't really guarantee that at the moment. So unfortunately, I don't think Bailey's an option for now.
Okay. Just to round off the table is Wilson here. Five big chances for been missed. 7 shots on target out of his 12 close range efforts, 13 shots in total. He should have scored at least a goal. Should have scored at least a goal more than he already has. So he scored 1 goal in the last 4 matches. Should have scored 2. I really like the look of him if he was fit, and if Newcastle had double game weeks. Basically, we're just not going to go there, are we? There's just too many options.
Not for now, no. I mean, if Newcastle had a double where they had a couple of home games and he's fit, you've got to consider him then. But no, not at the moment. I mean, they've got this blank, haven't they? And then I think they play City away, Newcastle, and then maybe actually we look at it. But there's always that nagging doubt with Wilson that he's going to break down, isn't there? Yeah. So when you're trying to be very careful with your transfers, he might not be the one to go for now.
Okay, so just one double game week asset here in Nketiah. And because those Liverpool players that were on the list, they've obviously scored. So they've jumped off the table in a good way. That should, if you don't see Darwin on here, that's a good thing this time round. You don't want to see him on here. You want the goals arrived table, which is like a normal table. Assists imminent. Let's have a look at this. This is assists imminent going into game week 25 as ever. Last 4 matches, I've got a minimum of 7 chances created last 4, with no more than 1 assist. Only Bowen has assisted. Everyone else has failed to assist so far. Start with Trippier. In 19 chances created, 27 corners, 21 crosses. He's been on this table seemingly forever, 4 weeks. He should have scored, notched a couple of assists. I'm tempted to remove him this week. I was going to keep him, but I think if I want to get a Liverpool defender, I think I have to move a more expensive defender, and that's Trippier. And I almost wish I hadn't had him for the last 4 weeks because he's blanked and he's not getting me the points that he was getting. So yeah, what do you think we should do with Trippier?
I think Newcastle have really missed Bruno Guimaraes, haven't they, who's been out, and I think it's impacted the whole team. I think it's impacted them defensively and going forward. So I think if you need to sell him this week, I think it's okay. He's got the blank and then he's got City. Just got to be aware that you probably bought him for 5 or 5.1. So if you do want to get him back when Newcastle's fixtures turn, you're going to lose a bit of money on him. But it depends on the squad. It depends what position you're in. But I wouldn't have any problems in selling him this week and then maybe looking at it again in a few weeks' time.
Okay, next up is March. Once again, he's not playing this week because he's blanking, but to look ahead for that double game week, McAllister's the goals imminent guy at the moment. March is the assists imminent guy, so he has scored but no assists. He's created 10 chances, taken 9 corners, 5 successful crosses. He's just a new entry on this table, so once again, I think he's a player that he's not going to be on this table for long, and if he appears on the goals imminent, it won't be for long. Yeah, March might have the edge at the moment. He certainly looks to be the most forward in the attacking play, more so than the strikers. So yeah, this underlines what you were saying earlier, that March might be in consideration for a future double game week.
Yeah, I think so. It's that creativity from set pieces, then that kind of adds another kind of route to points for him. But at the moment, it was hard to look past Matoma a couple of weeks ago because he was just returning, but the stats and stuff suggested that we should be considering Marsh, and now it's kind of it's gone in that direction. So yeah, it's one of the 3, and I'm not going to make a decision yet, but come game week 26, I'm going to have to. And Marsh is right up there right now. Got another player below on the table, Joe Gross. Yeah. Any interest there, or do you think it's between the 3?
It's tricky because, I mean, he's taken 19 corners, so this is where the assist potential is. 8 chances created, 5 successful crosses. He's not as attacking, so he can be moved to right back. He can be moved all sorts of places around the midfield, but it's probably likely he'll be in one of the more defensive roles. Especially with McAllister being a bit more forwards. He's exactly the kind of player that no one will get. Everyone will get one of the others, and it will be Gross or Hall in that double game week because he does have it in him, does have a goal and assist in him. But yeah, no, I probably won't. But yeah, I wouldn't put anyone off. Next up, Ward-Prowse. He scored 10 chances created, 11 corners. 8 successful crosses. And what do you think about Southampton? I mean, I've just been ignoring them a bit like Bournemouth, but he looks... Ward-Prowse, 6.2 million. It's an intriguing differential, definitely. What do you think?
Well, they've got Sellers in charge for the win at Chelsea. He came in, and there's talk about him getting the job permanently now. So Ward-Prowse, he wasn't in that kind of 10 role that he had been playing under Nathan Jones. He was a bit deeper. I think he only had nine final third touches at the weekend, and that's gonna limit his kind of open play appeal. But we know with Ward-Prowse, set pieces are a big part of what he does. Scored the free kick goal at the weekend. He's on penalties. He's on corners. So I think there will be a time when Ward-Prowse does come onto our radar, potentially for that double. But at the moment, not looking at it now. I want to see who they appoint permanently, because that'll tell us where he's going to play. I'd like him a little bit further forward. But he does have a habit of ticking along, doesn't he, with points? So one to consider maybe later in the season.
Nonto, he's my differential. He got me 1 point this week. But nevertheless, when he did score, I went up about 40, 50,000 in place in the rankings. So that's the power of the differential there. 7 chances created. He's still on this table. He's still relatively high up on this table. He's not slipping down. He's not slipping off. So seven chances created. He's taken 6 corners. He has scored. He should have got an assist as well. If his teammates could actually get on the end of anything. And he's had just one successful cross. I mean, these are okay stats for his price. Obviously, I'm going to keep him in this double game week as well. But what do we think of Leeds? I mean, are they basically just now a championship side waiting to go down? Will anyone who's got...
think so.
Yeah,
no, I mean, let's see who the new manager's going to be. I mean, I think they've been linked with the... Is it Javi Gracia? I think this morning's been spotted at Ellen Road.
So the Watford manager.
The former Watford manager. Yeah, so he's been spotted.
Recreating Watford's insane managerial appointment style.
Yeah. So he's kind of let's see what happens. But no, I don't think that. I think Leeds have got some good players. And Gonto's one of their kind of breakout stars, isn't he? But for 5 million, if he's going to nail down that place, I don't think there's anything wrong with keeping hold of him for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to keep him, and hopefully I can turn him into Tony at some point. And free up some money elsewhere. Next up, Sancho. I like to see Sancho here. 7 chances created. He has scored twice, and he should have got an assist as well. No successful crosses though, but gradually starting to nail his down a place there in that Manchester United side. He's going to take a while for people to recognise that he's probably quite a good FPL asset, don't you think?
Can be, yeah. He came on as a sub at the weekend, but he played in this like number 10 role, and it really, really works against Leicester. I thought he was brilliant. So, I mean, it's hard at the moment, isn't it? Because you've got Rashford, who's a lock in everybody's teams. Fernandes has been doing really well too. But Sancho maybe later on in the season, given his price, might be somebody to look at. He's a player that did really well in the Bundesliga. Hasn't quite happened up until now at United. But with Erik ten Hag in charge there, I'll back him to come good. I think there's a quality player there. Yeah.
Neto's the only Wolves player to make this list. I did a table for the Scoutcast team last night, and it was about expected goal involvement, non-penalty, and I just did it for the double game week of players. I couldn't even get to a Wolves player in there. Their expected goal involvement is borderline non-existent compared to Liverpool, Arsenal, and even Everton. Even Godfrey at Everton has got a higher than any of the Wolves players. But nevertheless, Neto is here. Been back from injury. I think he's back from injury now, isn't he?
Well, he's building his fitness, but he wasn't on the bench at the weekend, so I don't think he's an option now.
Okay.
But but even for Wolves, I mean, the fixtures aren't great this weekend, are they? They couldn't score past Bournemouth at the weekend. I think if you want to go for somebody, it's probably Sarabia or Cunha, but I don't know. I think Neto is a good option when he plays, but he might come back into the team now. I think he's had a run out with the youth team, but I can't say that for sure.
As Coleman said in the live chat, Neto is the prime wait and see, and indeed he is. So we will wait and see. Bowen, is next. West Ham, 8 million, probably the best 8 million midfielder, the one we're ignoring, apart from Saka. Is 8 chances created, making 9 corners, couple of goals last 4 matches. Should have got half an assist as well. So let's say almost an assist. 4 successful crosses. First week on the table here. Yeah, Bowen. Now, did I notice he was in the Fantasy Football Scout bus team?
He was.
Sort of bus team for Game Week 25 in a double game week. Why is Bowen there?
Well, he's got this home fixture against Forest, and Bowen tends to do better at home. If you look at his stats, they're okay. Forest struggle on the road. I mean, you might notice Fabianski was in 2. They've only scored 3 away goals all season, Forest. So a West Ham defender looks good this weekend, and I think Bowen. I mean, we were looking around at various options in that price bracket, and Bowen we thought, look, we'll put him in, we'll test the water with it, and then we'll see how we're looking on Friday. But I like Bowen. I mean, the problem is with West Ham is they're not scoring enough goals at the moment. The Moyes spoke about it after the Spurs match. He's hoping that Danny Ings will come in soon and be able to start making things happen for them. But Bowen always looks like the one most likely to do something. He's the liveliest forward they've got. And yeah, I quite like him this week against Forest. He's expensive, and I get that at 8 million. He's priced up, looking at last year's returns, isn't he? Not what he's done this year, but he had been starting to put a bit of form together recently. Few attacking returns in the last 5 or 6 weeks. So, yeah, I don't dislike that punt.
No, I think he looks like a great player to get in. Possibly not for this week. Well, I don't know. You just put a good case forward for this week. Just if you're looking to climb up the rankings, he's really low owned, and he's got the potential for double-digit haul. Genuine, not just a fluky goal and assist. We know he's got the pedigree. Next up, we got Rodri at Manchester City. I don't think people are going to go there. I mean, he is nailed as a Manchester City player can be, but he is essentially a defensive midfielder there. But he's created 7 chances. You might get a return there. I mean, if he can leap off this table because he gets an assist this week, then to go with his goal that he's already scored. I mean, I'll just count myself fortunate. Really, there. It's just one of those things. Partey hasn't played for Arsenal. 4.7, 7 chances created. No one's going to go there, but everyone wants Partey back. I think who's loaded up on Arsenal because they're better with Partey, aren't they?
Yeah, although Jorginho did play well at the weekend, but yeah, you definitely rather have him in the team than not. And he's a good player. He makes them tick, I think. So let's see if he's back this weekend.
Okay, let's move on to our teams. So those in the live chat, do start having a think about some questions, and do try and sort of load up the chat with some questions while we're chatting about our teams, and we'll endeavour to answer as many as we can, especially with the double blank normal game week, whatever you want to call it, coming up in game week 25. I'll put your team up first, Tom. You got a 3-4-3. Sorry. Okay.
John said you have to.
Well, I have. I was going to say you got a 3-4-3, but at the moment it's a 2-3-2. No, 2-3-4. 2-2-3-2 and a half.
It's a mess.
You run through the players what you've got, because some of them aren't going to play, and so you're definitely going to be making some move. You've got 2 free transfers as well. So who have you got? Who's in? Who's out?
So yeah, we've got Kepa in goal. 3 defenders. It could be 1 defender. We've got Gabriel, who looks good for this week, and then Bueno and Patterson. I think we might get 1 start out of Bueno. Patterson, I don't think we'll see much of. So that's an area which I need to look at. In midfield, I've got Fernandes in there still. He's blanking, but he will turn into a new player, which I'll talk about in a minute. And then also in midfield, I've got Andreas, De Bruyne and Saka, who is my current captain. And then up front, I've got Mitrovic, who is flagged, hoping he's going to play, but let's see. And Haaland and Nketiah. And then on the bench, I've got Ward. And then another 3 blankers, Trippier, Shaw and Rashford.
Okay. So you would are you looking to take a hit as well? Because it seems like quite a good week to take a hit, in that you would, as Andy so often says on the Scoutcast, if it's a blank game week and it's a hit, it's only a -2. I don't know what he means by that.
Well, I've got 2 free transfers, like you say, and I've got about 0.8 million in the bag. But I'm definitely looking at a -4, and I'm considering a -8 too. So the -4 part is to take out Shaw, Fernandes, and De Bruyne, and bring in Alexander-Arnold, Salah, and a midfielder up to 8.3 million,
Oh,
who I haven't
say that
decided
again,
on
just so
yet.
we can run past that again. So,
So take out 2 United players, Shaw and Fernandes,
okay.
and take out De Bruyne as well.
Mm.
So that would be the three to leave my team. Alexander-Arnold, Salah, and a midfielder up to 8.3 million will come in.
That sounds pretty good actually. And then suddenly this team looks good. Suddenly that is a genuine team.
Better. If
I
I want
think
to take an additional hit, Patterson to Tarkowski for
okay.
-4 is the next part that I would consider, and that might come down to Mitrovic and how that's looking. The midfielder, it could be Gakpo if I
Mm.
think he's going to get a start and then say 20 minutes off the bench in the
He
other
looks
one.
like a good differential
Yeah.
for you this
Now
week.
that is going all in on Liverpool, which is a bit risky.
Yeah, what's
Um,
what's the risk there? Because they may or may not play in game week 28. Is that right?
Yeah, that's the key. What if you go heavy on Liverpool and you don't want to use a chip? We need Leeds to beat Fulham, and if Leeds beat Fulham in the FA Cup fifth round, Liverpool have a fixture,
Ah.
and so but we won't know that before deadline. So I'm tempted to kind of go for Liverpool and just really hope that they do play in 28, and if they don't, then we've got a free hit to bail us out. And that's my kind of thinking
So,
with it
I mean,
in
on
game
current
week
form, I
28.
would say that Fulham are going to beat Leeds.
You would think so.
So
Yeah,
that would mean Liverpool. I mean, this would be
they blank.
important
Yeah.
for all of us, really, considering loading up on Liverpool. That would mean they blank there. And if we've already got other players blanking, we'd probably have to
Yeah.
start. Any Liverpool players we get in now, we would perhaps could be surplus to requirements in 28 and move to perhaps. I don't know. It's tricky though, isn't it? Brighton and Brentford, because they'll blank in 28 as well.
Yeah, they might. It might force a free hit if you go heavy on it. But I'm thinking it might be worth the risk, knowing I've got that free hit to get me out of trouble if I need
Yeah.
to.
Okay.
So yeah, I just think we've got a really good double for Liverpool. They're showing a little bit of form recently, and I think we need to go for this. I think this week. So that's where I'm at with that. I'm happy to sell the United players as well as they've done for me. Aside from Rashford, I'm keeping him, but I'm happy to sell them. I mean, they've got a blank. They then go to Liverpool away. Then they've got a good fixture against Southampton, but then they're probably going to blank in 28 again. So I never like selling players who have done well for me, but now feels like the right time for them. So yeah, looking at a -4 or a -8 this week, and I'm going heavy on Liverpool, I think.
Okay, so Salah in for De Bruyne. That looks
Yeah,
pretty set there. Two things I want to mention there. One is that they play Real Madrid tonight.
yeah,
The other is, according to the price comparison sites, De Bruyne's probably going to go down tonight, and Salah probably going to go up.
yeah.
I personally, for the moves I might have to make, I may have to make that move tonight after the Real Madrid game. So others may be in that position as well. Are you all right for cash? You don't need. You can wait a few days.
Yeah, it's not like I've got. Although saying that, actually, I think if I make those four moves, it is pretty tight. But I'm at the stage of the season now where I've got to prioritise information. I
Yeah.
think now, and if you make those early moves and then something happens, it's just gonna. I think I'd rather kind of say, well, look, if I can't make the one move that I really want to move, something like if I can't get Gakpo, then I'd have to sacrifice it, and if I can't reach him and go for somebody like I don't know, Iwobi, which sounds like a pretty big downgrade, but just as an
Oh,
example, then I'd have to go for somebody cheaper.
McNeil
Yeah, I mean
assist Tarkowski goal. That's written in
that's what we're
stone.
looking at, isn't it, this week? Because Wolves and Everton midfielders forwards, none of them are inspiring us, but they've got this double. So yeah, that I'm going to kind of wait regardless of the price changes. But then if every team is different, and yours might be, Joe, where you have to make that move and you have to take a bit of a risk. So it's very
Yeah.
much team dependent.
And the other point I want to make about Salah is you've got your captaincy on Saka at the moment. He's facing Leicester and Everton. Liverpool have a couple of good fixtures, Palace and Wolves. Salah looks like potentially a good captain. So who would you captain if you're owning both?
Salah.
Why?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think this new Liverpool system, I think it looks better. I think that they're starting to Salah, against Everton, he was very good, I thought, and I like Saka a lot. I haven't got any problems with captaining, but I just feel more comfortable giving Salah the armband. Given the fixtures, I think that you've got Palace and you've got Wolves, two teams really struggling after the restart. Wolves are moving in the right direction under Lopetegui, but they lost to Bournemouth at the weekend. So I'm in the Salah camp at the moment, and I think if I bring him in, I'm fairly certain he'll be my captain.
Okay, well, we'll move on to my team. Get those questions in the live chat, and then we'll address those in a sec. So as ever, my team's similar but slightly different to Tom's. So I'm rocking a 1-3-3 formation. So yeah, not very good in defence. These aren't the players I'm fielding. These are the players I'm thinking of getting rid of. So I've got Kepa in goal, and I've got Patterson, Doherty's not even in the country, and I have got Ben White, Andreas, Kevin De Bruyne, Martinelli, and Saka, who's currently my captain, Nonto, Haaland, and Kane, who's my vice captain currently, and on the bench I've got Rashford, Trippier, Shaw, and Ward. So I have 2 free transfers as well. I am also looking to take a hit, and I calculated that my hit would be De Bruyne to Salah, Doherty and Patterson out for Tarkowski and Alexander-Arnold. And that's 3 very good double game week players, of which Salah would be a very good captaincy shout. And those defenders are good. I do like Tarkowski in a double game week. He's for that. He's a classic. Could get me returns at both ends of the pitch in matches, and it means I get rid of Doherty. Sorry, and I wouldn't. Sorry, I think I said I was going to get rid of Patterson. No, I couldn't afford that if I did that. So Patterson's going to stay on my bench, and I'm thinking of removing Trippier for that Tarkowski, Alexander-Arnold, so I can afford that. So Doherty, Trippier out. So apologies everyone in the live chat there. Trippier and Doherty out for Alexander-Arnold and Tarkowski. De Bruyne to Salah. I've got 0.1 in the bank. So I can take a Trippier drop because I've got money tied up. I've got 0.9, I think. So I can afford a drop. I can't afford a De Bruyne drop and a Salah rise, and then that I'm locked out of that. So I might have to make that move later tonight, and it goes against my better judgment. But I'm off on Friday, so I might just not even look. Just close my eyes and run away from the team news that day.
Yeah, well, I guess you've got to sell Trippier over Shaw, haven't you, Joe? So because Trippier plays in game week 28, so that's obviously good for him.
Yeah.
But if you've got the players you're bringing in, you can't argue with any of those. They all look like great options. So I think it makes sense in your setup, and then you'll have a pretty decent team. Gonto at home to Southampton's a reasonable fixture, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kane at home, he only got the assist at the weekend, didn't he? But it's Kane at home.
Always finds a way. Always finds a way to get points.
Yeah. So and then suddenly now your Arsenal trip up, whereas White and Martinelli a couple of weeks ago were looking a bit of a minutes risk, look absolutely fine now, I think.
I think so.
It'll be a good team once you make the moves.
Yeah, so I mean, people are in the live chat. Rodrev saying selling Trippier crazy, and Wayne says Trippier is a season keep, in his opinion, daft to sell. Yeah, I'm still not 100% on that, I must admit, but De Bruyne to Salah is definite. That move I may make tonight. The other two, I would like Alexander-Arnold. I would like Tarkowski, but I could just not take a hit and just leave it as it is. But I've got
feel 10.
Yeah, but I have to address the Doherty problem, and I really I'll see what I can do, but I can't really do much defence wise unless I get someone absolutely rubbish at Liverpool, like a Joe Gomez or someone,
Don't think I've
or
got that.
some weird double Everton defence, which I'm not entirely comfortable with. So I think Trippier may go. Kieran in the live chat says, "Why not free hit?" I did. Well, okay. I was going to say I really wouldn't advise free hitting now, but each team is different. But he's just said he did. So good luck with your free hit. I think there's going to be better opportunities for a free hit. There's going to be bigger double game weeks coming up, and there could be more painful blanks as well. I think most people can field a really good team with a hit or two this week, and you can get 10 or 11 really good players out and the best captain in Salah or Saka. So that's why I wouldn't use a free hit now, because I think come game week 28 I might want to use it. Game week 29 I might want to use it. I might want to use it game week 33, 34 I think it is. Game week 37 even. There's a lot of opportunity to use a free hit. So I'm going to leave that be. So yeah, that's me. I might just move De Bruyne to Salah tonight and then leave that, and then over the next couple of days have a think about the Trippier out move. But Doherty's definitely going for someone, probably just Tarkowski. But yeah, I would like Trent Alexander-Arnold though. Hopefully you got some questions in the live chat. We'll go with them. So what I'll do is I'll go from wherever I can see a question mark at the top. Okay, so looking through. What Coleman's just said Simicast. Just about Simicast question mark. I presume that means as in he could be there to if a cover for Robertson. So Robertson might not get 2 starts. So I'm going to invent a question from that. In that, is Robertson worth going for, or will he not start both? What do you think?
It's hard to say. They're going to go strong tonight, aren't they? So yeah, he may sit out one of the fixtures. I don't know if that will completely put me off him, because this isn't just a 1 game week move with the Liverpool players. They've got games to follow. I think they play Bournemouth in 27, which is another really nice fixture. So it wouldn't put me off completely. Simicast obviously isn't an option. Yeah, you might get a game out of him this game week, but then it's going to be a big problem going forward. So, but I do like the Liverpool fullbacks. I think if I was going to free hit this week, I think I'd go double Liverpool fullbacks. I'd get Trent and Robertson in alongside Salah, rather than going for like a Trent and then 2 midfielders, for example.
Yeah, Ibuka, sorry, in the live chat says he would rather do Shaw to Robertson than Trippier to Alexander-Arnold. As you pointed out, Shaw misses game week 28, but Trippier doesn't.
We think, yeah.
That's what it's looking like. So that would make sense. But then again, I really like Shaw at the moment. I mean, he's... And I thought he was going to get me a goal in the last match as well.
Well, he would have got the assist. I think it was Martinez, wasn't it? Who hit the bar with this header, and it's from a Shaw free kick. He's a great option. The only worry that I have with selling United assets is that Southampton fixture, which I wouldn't have him for. But then obviously in game week 29, once that's out of the way and we're starting to deploy chips and things, probably come straight back in.
And so James, it's not really asking a question; it's just more of a comment, really. So he's not going with Salah because he's hoping to get a good green arrow with us content creators licking our lips at a massive Mo Hall that ain't happening. Unfortunately, probably will happen. So that's what we're betting on. But never guess. I think he raises a good point, though. If you want to be a little bit different to what the zeitgeist is saying about Salah, he could be in a void, certainly this week.
Well, I kind of get there's a bit of skepticism around it. I mean, what had he had 5 blanks before game week 23? But I think he's still, he got that haul against Everton, didn't he? Got the assist at the weekend, and it's the fixtures, really. Fixtures often dictate how a player's going to do, and these 2 fixtures for Liverpool against Palace and Wolves are really good. And so, I get why people might be happy to just continue and captain Saka maybe, but I think I'm going to go for a relatively low-owned Salah compared to what we're used to anyway, and take a risk on him this weekend. I think.
Garrick asks the best Arsenal attackers. I mean, I think two and a defender. So I think the best. My answer to that is probably get two, and I do think there's returns for Gabriel. So I think the best three assets would be Gabriel, Odegaard, and Saka. But in terms of best actual three Arsenal attackers, who would be in your order? Your top three.
Saka's number one. I think he's in a great moment at the moment. And then probably Gabriel. Arsenal haven't been keeping as many clean sheets recently, but the next few fixtures are good for them, beyond 25 too. And the third one, I think it's Odegaard or Nketiah, isn't it? I think I slightly prefer Nketiah, but we saw how dangerous Odegaard can be at Villa. You know, he only got the assist, but he got maximum bonus. He's very good for that, his play style. And he should have scored too. He missed a sitter, didn't he? So he's getting into threatening positions. I don't think you can go wrong with either, really.
No, definitely. Reading down. Nihal asks thoughts on doing Cucurella to Trent Alexander-Arnold, Mahrez to Salah, and Mitrovic to Nonto for a -8. I don't like that move. I think you might better do better than. I mean, I've got Nonto, but I think you can do better than Nonto. And
what was the first part? What was the first part of it, Joe?
So Cucurella to Alexander-Arnold.
Well, that's fine. That's a no-brainer, isn't it?
Yeah. Mahrez to Salah.
Okay, so
then it becomes you could be missing out some points there. And then Mitrovic to Nonto. Nonto, obviously, the enabler there for a -8. I don't like that at all. Because already you've got a -8. You're getting rid of a good player. You're getting two good players in, but you're not getting three good players in. If you're going to take a -8, I would think like you were proposing, Tom, with your -8. You're looking at getting three good players in, and it's pretty risk free, hopefully.
Yeah, City are interesting because they've got Leipzig on Wednesday. They then go to Bournemouth, and then they've got an FA Cup match against Bristol City 3 days later, I think. So let's see what Mahrez is going to play against Leipzig, isn't he? He might play against Bournemouth too, and then he might be rested in that Bristol City match. Pep does tend to go quite strong in the FA Cup and cup competitions in general. But yeah, selling Mahrez for a hit after he's just been rested for an away match at Bournemouth, Salah, I think, is a great player to get in this week, but I really think you need to kind of think that one through, because if Mahrez comes out with double digits from that game, nobody's surprised, are they, away at Bournemouth? So,
no, I mean, I've got Haaland, I've got De Bruyne. I want to get rid of De Bruyne because I've got De Bruyne, Kane and Haaland, and that's carrying a lot of money for three players, two of which are getting returns, but not great returns. Mahrez is much, much cheaper. So if I was to I'm going to get rid of De Bruyne this week, and if I was to get another City player, it would be Mahrez.
Oh, it would be him.
So that says all. That's the thing about these double game weeks and things is trying to look long term as well. Ishan asks, would you get the Liverpool triple up in attack? That is Darwin, Salah, and Gakpo. Would you be interested in that? All three of them?
No, just because I like the defend. I like especially Alexander-Arnold. I think more play. Whenever I watch Liverpool in the past couple of games, more of their play seems to be going through the full-backs. It's a system that they're using now, reminiscent of a few years back with that kind of 4-3-3, but then turning into a bit of a 4-2-4 in attack. And I think it's good for the full-backs. So that limits you if you're going to go for three attackers. And I think Alexander-Arnold's it's not a must-have this week by any means. Liverpool have been conceding a lot of goals, but I think he's a good, relatively low-owned option to go for in a double game week, given that Palace and Wolves notoriously struggled to score.
Yeah, I mean, many who with Kane who don't have De Bruyne but want to get Salah in are looking to downgrade Kane, and Darwin is in the thoughts there. Lennox in the live chat asks thoughts on Kane to Darwin. Ideally, I'd like to keep Kane. I think that answers that question. If you'd ideally like to do something, ideally do it, I think. But removing him allows him to get Salah, Trent, and Darwin. Keeping Kane probably means just having Salah from Liverpool. See, that is, I mean, people are in that. You can really load up and go to
Yeah.
town on Liverpool here. And he's going to get 3 pretty good Liverpool assets. And he's just keeping Kane for Chelsea otherwise. So that does sound like quite a good move to make, doesn't it?
I don't mind it, providing you've got a free hit, just in
Yeah,
case you might need it in game week 28.
yeah,
Because, but no, I don't mind that. Kane, well, Spurs in general, I know they got the win at the
yeah.
moment, but they haven't quite clicked over the
No.
past couple of games. Kane hasn't been getting many chances at all. And of course, he can pop up. He's a world class striker. He could get a brace against Chelsea.
Mm,
But I think that the upside of the Liverpool players this week, like you say, if it enables you to get Salah in
yeah,
midfield as well. Let's see about Darwin, though. I
yeah.
mean, see if he plays tonight. I don't think he'll start both games in the double as well.
No.
I think he's probably going to start one and maybe get minutes off the bench in the other, just because they've got Jota, they've got Firmino coming back now.
Okay.
So let's see what happens. But I don't hate that.
We've got time for 2 or 3 more questions. Also, a reminder to myself and to everyone else here to press that like button and to subscribe. Do that. FPL Spartans really getting to the nub of the game week here. What is our preferred snack when we're sipping our gin and tonics? And he's only given us 2 options: Pringles or Doritos or something else. So yeah, what's your favourite snack with a gin and tonic?
It would be Pringles, but we don't have Pringles in the house much because my son, who is 9, he's obsessed with Doritos. So it's the hot ones, it's the flaming ones. He absolutely loves them. So I don't think I have a choice in my household, unfortunately. No.
No, I do like Pringles, but I'm gonna throw something out there. A bit maverick, a bit of a differential move. Frazzles. If I've got an option of any crisp, it's going to be Frazzles. Gin and tonic, orange juice, whiskey, beer, whatever. Frazzles is always the one. So yeah, that's my top snack. Someone else.
I like that. Curveball.
Edison to Pickford asks Anne or Ain. Ain Moore is in the live chat. Says thoughts on Edison to Pickford. What do we think?
I would think there's got to be another move in the team which takes priority over that. I think Pickford's okay this week because I think he'll probably get some save points in the second fixture. I don't think they'll keep a clean sheet against us, and I don't think they'll keep a clean sheet against Arsenal, but they've got Forest after.
Yeah.
So, I just struggle to see how anybody's in a position this week where they could make a goalkeeper move, but maybe he's set up very well or got into a good position. So don't hate it. And Edison, I kind of understand is probably testing the patience of his owners at the moment. So you might want to get rid of him. And Pickford probably is the goalie to go for this week. But just be sure, have a look at the rest of your team and check that there isn't something else you should be doing before that move.
FPL Spans has come back on the Frazzles.
Oh, okay. Part two. Okay.
Do Tesco's bacon crispies come close? I mean, they can do. It's a kind of a Panda Pop question, isn't it? Is that as close as a real Coke? Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'll eat them. Mahrez to Gakpo for a hit, just a straight up there. No messing around with minuses. Just Mahrez to Gakpo.
No, I don't think. I don't think Gakpo will start both both fixtures. So I don't like it for the hit. For free, I don't mind it so much, but for a hit, especially if Mahrez plays Bournemouth, it's a great fixture. So.
And Sheila here, last question. As a Martinelli owner, would you sell for Odegaard or Saka, or sell White to accommodate Saka alongside Martinelli for an extra hit? That gets a bit more complicated. Essentially, if you've got Martinelli and you don't have Saka, would you make that move? Or if you don't have Odegaard, would you make that move? I would possibly, if you don't have Saka and you need to make that move, I would. But I was tempted last week to move Martinelli to Odegaard. They ended up pretty much matching each other. Basically, Martinelli, I don't mind him being benched at the moment. I'd take the last 30 minutes of against tired legs, and I'll take 60 minutes of him. I don't mind it at the moment. He's, that's just me. But would you make that move, Martinelli to Saka or Martinelli to Odegaard?
Well, I made the Saka move a couple of weeks ago and I've been really happy with that. So yeah, I think if you can do that and you haven't got anything else you need to do, I don't think I'd go Martinelli to Odegaard. I think Martinelli after that performance, I think he'll come back into the team and it might give him that bit of a boost. And it wouldn't surprise me if he matched or outscored Odegaard if he gets a couple of starts in the next week. So no, I don't think I'd do that. But if you could do Martinelli to Saka for free, then yeah, Saka looks like the one to own right now, doesn't he? He's going to be massively owned as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he would be. That's ownership will come into the captain. Just a couple of more just to round off here. Just we're getting into Everton territory, so we're getting Everton deep. The name that I completely butchered earlier, I think I called that person Anne or Anyi, is actually pronounced Onya. So I completely butchered the name Onya. Apologies, Onya. Thanks, Com, for pointing that out. Thoughts on McNeil? That's as deep as I got when I did my expected goal involvement last four table for the Scoutcast last night. I remember Andy, Let's Talk FPL Andy, got a surprise bench boost differential of McNeil, and he's now gone in folklore. That everyone, I think I'm going to get a haul out of McNeil if I ever get him in. I think you could get him in and you could get lucky. That's the way I look at it. I don't think he's definitely going to get returns though.
No, I think I'd probably, I mean, you look, McNeil obviously played under Dyche for a long time, and it was very much, I mean, he would go 10, 15 games without getting anything and then pop up and get a brace. I think I prefer Iwobi over McNeil if I had to choose one. But you never know, you might get an assist from a set piece or something like that. But it's very double game week. We're not considering McNeil unless he's got a double, are we? So.
No. FPL Tic Tacs, Lewis Tarkowski for a hit. Yeah, I'd be tempted actually. I think Lewis is a player you're probably going to want to move on. And I think Tarkowski, you might not, but you could get some quite big returns from him this double game week. FPL Big Head is a -12 too much. Yes, but it might not be if they all pay off, but they've all got to pay off.
Yeah, it depends.
All the players you get rid of have gone blank. All the players you get in.
Yeah, if it's Almiron and Trippier and Tony and Matoma, and then it might make more sense, I suppose. But I'm considering a -8 this week, and I think that can pay off. So I wouldn't completely rule it out, but it's very team dependent, isn't it, Joe? So
yeah, totally. Thanks so much for all of those asking those questions there, especially the important snacks question. And good luck all of you with your game week 25. Good luck all those listening and watching with this exciting game week that's taking place. And Tom, good luck with your game week as well. Thanks for joining it, and we'll be back next week for some more goals and assists imminent. See you later, Tom.
Cheers, Joe.